Hello, Wit and Wisdom with Bonnie and Claudia, the great technological duo. Oh my goodness, you should be here. We need someone to be here and help us. But
That's true.
anyway, we have been talking about, does God do miracles through his people? And we realized we want to elaborate and change that just a little. Does God do miracles through his people and to his people?
That's right.
And the last clip we talked about, the last episode, miracles that he did for us.
For us,
Yes,
right. Not
right.
necessarily through us, for
His
us.
children. He loves us and he wants to care for us. And I'll just say this, at Christmas, we were reading to the whole group here, 33 family members, for Christmas Eve dinner, and we read the book that we published recently, Jake the Horse. It's a miracle story, and I've realized this book is for children and adults.
That's for sure.
Inspired by Dave. It's a great evangelism tool even, and getting people interested in God and what he does through and for his people. And so I had the illustrator, my granddaughter Kendall, read the book to everyone, and she stopped and said, "What is a miracle?" And my 5-year-old granddaughter, named after me, her name is Bonnie Mae, she raised her hand and she said, "A miracle is when God does something amazing."
Awesome, even, right?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
Something
That's the same
awesome.
thing.
Yeah.
It's
But,
true.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about in this series, a few episodes about the awesome things that God has done.
That's so important.
And you were telling me about your time in Germany.
Yes. Well, I've been pondering over when I've seen miracles. And so often it is when I've responded to an assignment that God wanted to be done, and he shows himself strong. Because the purpose of miracles can be to reveal his glory. It can be to confirm his word, that Jesus is Lord, and to show his greatness, to demonstrate his love. So all these things come into work when you see the miracles of God. Okay, so my husband and I were a part of pastoring a family during the Columbine school shooting. A little bit of background.
And the Columbine school shooting was how many years ago?
It was 20-some years ago.
Was
21,
it?
yeah, believe it or not. But
Wow.
there were some very strong Christians who stood up for their faith in the midst of that evil. And one of them was Rachel Joyce Scott, and her mother attended our church at that time. So from that, we formed a torch grab team to take students who survived that to go and give testimony to others who went through such horrible school shootings and disasters.
And didn't there seem to be a spate of such evil going on around the world?
Yes.
It's like young people copied others.
Yes,
and,
yes.
and
Even today,
then-
I heard of another one.
Is that right?
Another school shooting.
And
in
then
Iowa.
Bruce and Claudia and their team would go and minister to these people.
And so we heard of a school shooting in Eastern Europe, in Erfurt, Germany. And we just felt we need to go. And so we talked to some of the survivors from the actual school shooting, as well as Rachel's mother and sister, and said, "Would you like to go? Let's go." We didn't have the connections. We had no idea how God would open the doors. We just flew in there. And we went and tried
Did you
to
stay
contact.
in a hotel?
We stayed in an old hotel. Yes, we did. And we tried to contact the government and the school. And their response at that time was, "We don't need anyone. We're not giving you the names. They've seen a psychologist," as if one time is all that they needed. So
right.
we just said, "God, you're going to direct us another way."
Yeah, and can you describe a little what happened?
Okay, yes. in Erfurt, Germany, a former student went, and I can't remember the exact number, but specifically gunned down at least a dozen teachers and a few students.
Wow.
So it was very,
Wow.
very traumatic. Now, this was not a Christian area. This was an atheistic community. And so there was not a revival like there was in Littleton, Colorado, where there were people who gathered to pray and to do vigils and to sing worship. It was just desperate despair. That's all it was. So we said, God, you're going to help us. So we went to breakfast at the hotel, and we were talking about our purpose and how we wanted to come up. And I noticed that our waitress ran away crying, and I pursued her, and she said, my daughter was there. She can't sleep. She hasn't been able to eat. Can I tell her where you are?
Huh.
So instead of us trying to figure out where all the students were,
Yes.
well, she was the kid contact. That was miraculous that we had that particular waitress.
Yes.
With
And
that
then
particular.
what about the language? Were you were speaking in English?
We were speaking in English, but they speak good English in
Okay.
Germany. They do.
Okay.
So she said, could I tell my daughter? And we said, yes, have your daughter call her friends and just come over and say there are people who've been through this that would love to just be there for you. So little by little, the next day, students trickled in, one by one. And they would announce first, Bonnie, they'd say, we don't believe in God, we're atheists. We said, that's fine. We just want to comfort you and tell you the stories. And so one by one, we asked them actually. Bruce, my husband, does critical incident, stress ministry, and knows that you listen to people's stories. You don't have to jump right in with your answer. And so they shared. My art teacher was laying on the ground. My history teacher, I thought he was just kidding, but he was dead, and just horrific stories of what it was like.
Yeah.
And so anyway, then our team was able to say what it was like to be in the library, being shot at and called names in Littleton, Colorado. And basically, we just loved them, and more kids came. Now, we had already planned to rent their gym at the end of the week before we went, and we just kept inviting them. We have a drama, we have some music, we have some poems we're going to read.
And this was their school?
It was near their school. Yeah, it was near their school. And we didn't know if anybody would come. So after a week of just sharing and listening and saying it was only Jesus that got us through, like Rachel's mom, without the knowing of the love of Jesus, I could not have gotten through this. I'm still recovering. We invited him to this rally, and this was the miracle. When we had our team, we had a dramatic dance, we had music that conveyed the gospel. And when we got there, the gym was absolutely packed.
Wow.
So the whole community came to hear. And they were so moved. Rachel's mother shared, Rachel's sister shared her story. We did our dance drama. And then my husband at the end just said, the same person who healed our hearts is ready here to heal yours. And if you have any desire to encounter Jesus Christ, just step forward. And we just thought maybe one or two. Bonnie, the entire audience moved forward.
Oh.
We could not see who did not respond. And we just prayed, and God changed that entire community and school with his loving kindness. To me, that was miraculous.
Yes.
Miraculous. So when you step out to share the gospel, Jesus wants to reach people more than we do. And he will move mountains in order for that to happen.
Yes, that is true.
We'll never forget.
For sure. On a lighter note, we were in Israel and had been speaking at a Palestinian church, a Bible school type sessions for a week. and it was Dave and I and some other people from here. Craig Hill, he's the one who had set it up.
That's so
And
beautiful.
we brought our oldest daughter Tamara and our youngest daughter Sarah with us. And so they made a lot of connections with young people. And this one young girl said, please come to my home. And we were in Bethlehem. And I want you to minister to my family. And so we lost the address, and we didn't know who to call. We didn't know her name that well, and so we just left that thought, and we're driving through, it might have been through Nazareth at this time. We were driving, and there were traffic jams, and we were stopped, totally stopped in a traffic jam going this direction. Right over here, the traffic jam was stopped, and there was the girl in her car.
Oh my gosh.
And she
thank
waved
you,
to
Lord.
us, and she said, pull over. And she came around then and came to us and gave us her address. We went to her home. Her family was totally changed, born again. Just a wonderful experience. But God did that miraculous thing, not through us, but for us.
And for that family.
And for that family
Yes,
especially.
that's amazing.
Yeah,
He'll do that.
that's right. And there was another one in Israel where,
1 minute.
1 minute?
Wanna
Okay.
switch it?
Where Dave was on an airplane from Japan through to LA and sat next to an Israeli, and when they got off in Los Angeles, Dave prayed for his back, lengthened his leg, and so forth, which he loved to do for people, to get miracles to them. And the man said, if you're ever in Israel, come visit. And so we had his address, but we were going to Haifa to go to his family. And all of the telephones, this is before cell phones, all of the telephones along the road were broken. And so we just went into Haifa, not knowing where to go, what to do. Everything's in Hebrew. And we stopped at one more phone, maybe this one will work, and we're standing there trying to get it to work, and a woman comes walking her dog, and she said, may I help you? She spoke in English. She knew we needed that. And it was the wife of this man Dave had ministered to on the airplane. And so we got to be with them for the whole afternoon, and their lives were changed, and it was a miraculous event.
God
Yes.
does miracles.
Yes, he does.
Amen.
Amen.